Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs. On today's episode of Fabric Friday, I have an amazing artist to show you some of her fabric. She doesn't really need an introduction. It's Tula Pink, and I'm excited to show you the beginning stages of a quilt that I'm designing using some of her fabric. Tula Pink, if you're not familiar with her, is an amazing fabric illustrator, designer. She has lots of gorgeous fabric lines. She came out with here in the I can't remember when it was released, but a fabric line called True Colors, and I love the whole idea behind it. She basically takes color swatches from her fabrics and includes all of these really great blending fabrics that can be used on their own, fabrics that, if you like with me with some of these fabrics that I'm using, they aren't necessarily from one singular line of her fabric, but she, in that True Colors collection, I could pull pretty well any of those and they will correspond with the fabrics that I chose that I'm using for this quilt that I'm designing. So that is such a great and smart idea when it comes to designing fabric, especially keeping the quilter in mind with it. I, of course, am just in awe always of her, not only her illustrations, but the color palettes that she chooses, the colors that she puts together. And in this quilt that I'm designing, called Ode to Tula is what I'm going to call it, I really try to highlight how she takes these colors and puts them together. And then I also am trying to highlight the beautiful illustrations that she does, these just wonderful little vignettes of just all different things that she puts into her fabrics, and it just makes them really special. And I just don't know how you can look at her fabric and how it just can't make you instantly happy, just with the colors that she uses and the illustrations, like I said. So I've been kind of holding back waiting to do an episode on Tula Pink for a couple of reasons. One, because I want to do her justice, because she is, if not my favorite fabric designer, she is one of my top 2 favorite fabric designers. She designs for Free Spirit Fabrics, and again, as I mentioned, her colors are always just spot on alongside her illustrations. And if you've been watching along my videos, you'll probably know by now that I actually went to art school for illustration. So illustration to me is just, it's very special to me, and I have a large appreciation for artists who are illustrators in all different sorts of facets of illustration. So anyway, I love her drawing capabilities, her compositions, and her colors, and I have so much respect for her. I also have been holding back because I have been waiting on her newest line, which is line work. Well, it's not her newest line. She actually just did an Alice in Wonderland themed fabric, but I don't think that one is going to be available until this next year. But her line work really, really, really highlights her illustrations, and it also shows a lot of the animals that she illustrates, and it has a lot of humor in it. And if you haven't watched her Tula Talk Tuesdays, I definitely recommend following her on Instagram and watching those every Tuesday. They're not only hilarious, but she really shows the behind the scenes, what she does, how she illustrates, how she comes up with her concepts, how she goes about putting her quilts together, her thought processes behind everything, even as far as how she works with the ribbon company that she gets her ribbons printed through. I find it fascinating, and I watch every Tuesday, and I definitely recommend it. So without further ado, here are some of the fabrics that I'm going to show you that I'm using for this quilt. I probably will do another episode on her line work fabric collection. I've been waiting on it. I'm still waiting on it. I just got impatient and had to do an episode on her just because I'm just so inspired. But anyway, so the first fabric I'm going to show you, this is from her Spirit Animal collection. And you can just see all of the detail in this. I mean, even just the line work, and then again, the colors are just perfect. And I gravitate towards like these purples and the reddish oranges. I really gravitate towards those colors, and so that's probably why I'm so attracted to this fabric. But I love this bird, and I just love everything about it. And so that's the first one. And then the next print fabrics I'm going to show you are all from her line Pinkerville. This is just kind of what I have and have collected. So it wasn't really bought like necessarily with the intention to just throw it all together for a quilt. I am a collector of her fabric, so anyway, and all of her accessories, her scissors, her threads, just you can probably see that little pretty black box that I have sitting up there. That is her Aurifil thread colors in a beautiful box, and I love it. My husband got it for me for Christmas last year, so I have it displayed in my sewing room. And so here's this one, and upon first glance with this fabric you think, oh, those colors, but when you look closer, this teal with this orange, it just I gravitate towards it, and I love it. So that's the next one. This one, I love purple. I especially love this periwinkle color. So this fabric is just a given that I love it. And this one, again, I love this purple color. I love how she just beautifully illustrated these swans together to make a heart. And she also, in one of her Tula Talk Tuesday episodes, she did a mask and with her line work collection, and the way that she put the mask together, it made a perfect heart with the two animals. Like when she sewed up the seams met together perfectly to make this heart. And so I'll probably have to make a mask and try to line it up and do that also. But anyway, this fabric, I mean, every single little, you can find so many little parts and pieces to these fabrics that, especially if you want to fussy cut it, or it just has so many options in it, depending on how you quilt, how you want to quilt. You can do a bigger section, smaller section. It works. And I really respect and love that about her fabric. And then the final one I'm going to show you today, this one also has a lot of parts. So when you look back from it, it just kind of looks like one of those marble tie-dyed pieces of artwork. But when you look closer, you can see she put a unicorn in it, the Loch Ness Monster, a swan. I mean, just kind of random things that you can just find in this fabric. And I love looking further into that and finding those things in her fabric. And so when I was thinking about this quilt block, this last Tuesday, she did an episode on, she took this pattern that Allison Glass had designed and kind of made it her own. And she had these really cute little heart blocks in the pattern. So I'm going to show you how I kind of took a little bit of that, and then I took parts of these and molded them together to come up with these quilt blocks. So one other thing that I just want to mention before we get into the quilt block designs that I've done. this week, she also talked a lot about how she kind of comes up with her rainbow gradients. So a lot of her work goes from, you know, pink or reddish orange to purples, and just kind of shows the spectrum of the rainbow. And when I was listening to her talk about it, it was really interesting how she described how she kind of works her way through and kind of comes up with that realization to show that spectrum. And so I took that into consideration when I was doing these blocks too. So when I designed this quilt, I wanted to kind of start in one corner with the color of these hearts that I did, and then kind of go in a diagonal motion to the bottom where those hearts will be purple. So I'll showcase all different of her fabrics, but the hearts will stay consistent, going from like a red down to a purple. So here's this one. And again, I'm going to call this quilt Ode to Tula. And as I mentioned, I'll have these kind of going in a diagonal motion. So I'm going to showcase just these 5" by 5" blocks. I'm going to fussy cut her fabrics to kind of show these different really special illustrations within her fabric. So the heart of the swans, and then a green heart showing the unicorn. My daughter got really excited about the unicorn, my oldest daughter. And then a blue heart with the Loch Ness Monster. And then the bird, the purple hearts. So you can see it's just all gonna kind of go diagonal down to this beautiful purple hearts. And I just incorporated these solids that correspond with each of the fabrics. And I might even still include some more fabrics. I probably won't include any of her line work collection into this, just because I have something different kind of planned for that. But if I come across any more of her fabric, and I think that I'm kind of between a few fabrics in the in her collection to kind of bring all of these together. So I don't know, we'll see once I get all of these blocks done. I'm going to kind of see if I want to put them side by side. I'll probably give a break in between, but I'm going to just keep making these blocks and put them on my design wall and just kind of keep going. But here are the solids that I'm using. And I just kind of, they're Kona solids, and some of them are Tula's color palette specific. Some of them are the Robert Kaufman solids. So I didn't really pick specific just her solids. I just kind of went through the Kona solid collection in my quilt shop that I shop at, and just tried to match them so that I could bring out colors from all of the fabrics. So I'm just going to keep going and see where it goes, and hopefully I can get this patterned out and make it available on my website. So that's a goal, and so definitely be checking back for that. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson. Be sure to go on and check out Tula Pink and check out her fabrics, and check out just all that she has to offer. She does ribbons, she has new little acrylic keychains, she even works with Bernina and has a sewing machine through Bernina. So anyway, just check her out. She's wonderful. And thanks guys, have a good weekend. Bye.